I'm the founder of Prosperity Capital Management. We've been investing in Russia for 20 years. We started the fund for 17 years ago. We are now the largest fund manager in Russia with about 4 billion under management. Yeah. Now there's enormous change, of course. Basically 20 years ago, most companies were only really quickly incorporated, privatized Soviet production units or ministries, and had very poor productivity and weak management, post-Soviet management and so on. And over the years we've seen enormous progress in terms of increased productivity, increased efficiency, companies starting to act like modern corporations. Of course there's still a long way left to go, but they're really unrecognizable from what they were before. Also we've seen significant improvements in corporate governance, even if that is still the main problem for us as investors in Russia. I don't think there's anything that's radically different. We have had some things that we've seen a slowdown in the economy, which has created some pressure to increase the rate of reform. We haven't yet seen this increase of reform coming through, but I think there's a greater awareness now that something needs to be done in order for the companies to improve. We also had in this year a couple of problematic corporate governance situations, which we worked very hard to improve, and I think we're getting somewhere on those ones also. But other than that, you've just had a steady rate of improvements in the management of the Russian companies. Well, I think we're investing in companies. We buy company by company. We don't necessarily choose our companies by sector. But having said that, there are more companies with good management, with real entrepreneurship in the consumer-facing industries. Of course, both in technology, but in retailing, in consumer goods, in other services and so on. They've experienced a much more tough competition, a more Darwinian experience. So you find the best management teams in those industries. And of course, often you see the weakest ones in the state-controlled companies. I think a lot of Western investors, particularly here in the US, but to some extent in other places also, is that they have an overly political outlook on Russia. They think that what Putin does or doesn't do determines what happens in the country. They think that the government meddles with your business all the time. That's really not the case, and I think this threshold issue that many people have, that they just don't like the government, makes it so that they won't look at the reality of what happens on the ground, what happens within the companies, how the productivity is increasing and so on. And I think that's something that needs to be overcome.